Tate McRae has already proven she can dance and can write a hit song in 20 minutes. But she's the first to admit there's one thing she hasn't totally mastered yet: relationships. Tate McRae was born in the Canadian city of Calgary, Alberta, but when her father's career took him to the Middle East, the whole family moved to Oman when she was around 4 years old. While living in Oman, McRae's mother taught dance classes. As a result, the youngster couldn't help but become immersed in the world of movement and would often improvise dances she created herself. As she told Everly Meg, she initially saw dance as more of a hobby than anything else. It certainly wasn't something she took all that seriously, particularly when it came to discipline and following instructions. "I loved performing but hated when I actually had to do what I was told." When she was 8 years old, McRae's mother took her to New York City, where she was able to see world-class dance. That experience changed her attitude, giving her a desire to study dance in earnest and become the best dancer she could be. After seeing the dancers in New York, young Tate McRae began focusing on her dance studies, and her hard work paid dividends fairly quickly. By the time she was 9 years old, she was participating in national competitions in Canada and the United States. At that time, dance was McRae's primary focus, and it was where she eventually envisioned herself when thinking about a future career. When she was 10, McRae was featured in the Calgary Herald, her hometown newspaper. The article noted that she'd recently competed at the Dance Nationals in New York, where McRae emerged with the title of Best Mini Dancer in her age category of 7 to 10-year-olds. In 2015, when she was 11, she received a silver medal in her age group after competing in the International Ballet Competition Youth Grand Prix. That same year, she received a scholarship offer to attend the prestigious Berlin State Ballet School, where she took a 2-week intensive training program. Despite McRae's subsequent success in music, dance has never stopped being a passion for her, as she told Numero Netherlands. "Dance means everything to me. I mean, I feel like it was my first found passion in life." In 2013, Tate McRae was cast as a voice actor in Nickelodeon's animated series La La Loopsy. Joining the cast, McRae voiced Spot, Splatter, Splash, one of the series' ragdolls who had magically come to life and had an affinity for arts and crafts. Speaking with Entertainment LA when she was just 12, McRae explained how she came to be a part of La La Loopsy, saying, "I love musical theater and had to learn to develop characters for my songs. Then the same day I got an agent, I booked a job doing voiceovers for the show La La Loopsy." She said she loved the experience of voice acting, although she did find it to be challenging on occasion. Tate McRae received another big boost towards fame when she was chosen to dance on stage with singer Justin Bieber during his Purpose Tour in 2016. That same year, McRae was among the dancers who competed at Dancerpalooza, an annual dance festival held in Long Beach, California. Her talent caught the eye of fellow dancer Stephen Twitch Boss, who was then the DJ and executive producer of The Ellen DeGeneres Show. Boss put together a dance presentation for the show and invited McRae to participate. As if all of that wasn't enough, Fox TV dance competition So You Think You Can Dance announced a special edition focusing on under 18 dancers. 12-year-old Tate McRae auditioned and wound up being among the dancers chosen for the 2016 series. She ultimately ended up in 3rd place at the end of the season.
I was super grateful to be here. I never expected to get this far in the competition.
Another pivotal moment in McRae's career occurred when she posted a video on YouTube in which she performed a dance routine to one of Demi Lovato's songs. That video caught the eye of Lovato's creator-director, who brought it to the singer's attention.
And apparently she cried and loved it, and that was such an honor already.
Lovato then invited McRae to rehearse with her backup dancers for her performance of Sorry Not Sorry at the American Music Awards. While McRae, then just 14, was too young to perform on the actual show, she was still able to enjoy the experience of rehearsing the routine. In 2017, McRae launched her own YouTube channel, but she also found herself drawn to creating music and began early explorations into songwriting. McRae told Billboard that she began to write lyrics she'd composed, along with quotes and poems she'd written, on the walls of her bedroom. The direction of McRae's life changed indelibly on October 20th, 2017. When she was unable to get into a dance studio, she posted a vocal performance video on YouTube, in which she sang a song that she'd written in a mere 20 minutes called One Day. As she told the Calgary Herald, "So I put it out there. I wasn't expecting anything, but it kind of blew up overnight. I didn't even have a title. I just called it I Wrote a Song." That's how it all started. As McRae explained in her interview with Numero Netherlands, moving from dancer to singer-songwriter had been in the works a lot longer than it may have appeared. She said, "In my head, from a young age, I was like, I want to be a pop star. I always said that to my mom. And as a dancer, I was asking myself, how am I going to become a pop star from literally not even singing? Thanks to the unexpected success of her one-day video, McRae took the logical step of releasing the song as a single via Canadian label Network Music Group in 2017. The song began gaining steam, and by the early part of 2018, McRae and her parents flew to New York City to take meetings with record labels. In 2019, Tate McRae signed a deal with RCA and began work on writing and recording the collection of songs that would make up her debut EP, All the Things I Never Said. As RCA COO John Fleckenstein told Billboard, she was so young then, obviously, but so determined, and really in some ways sort of moved like a competitive athlete. Even at that age, she was so clear on where she wanted to go and what was important to her. The first song that McRae recorded for her debut EP was Tear Myself Apart, her collaboration with Billie Eilish and her brother Phineas O'Connell. Within a month of its release, songs from the EP received a staggering 53 million streams on Spotify. As McRae told 1883 magazine, "This first EP is very much an introduction of myself. It feels like the start of a new vision." Following the release of her major label EP, Tate McRae hit the road for her first ever concert tour at 17 years old. While performing in front of a live audience as a dancer had become old hat for her, the experience of singing in front of a crowd of people was new. However, she proved to be a natural when it came to entertaining in concert. In early 2020, McRae hit the road for her All the Things I Never Said tour. The first few dates on the tour were sellouts, indicative of the interest that the fledgling singer-songwriter had generated through her music. As she told 17 magazine in 2022, "It's the most surreal feeling ever. Everything that I didn't expect is happening. I think my fans are louder than I could have ever expected. The crowds are bigger than I thought. I thought no one was going to show up, and they all showed up. It's been so wild."
It's a super sick venue. I think this is our biggest show yet.
Tate McRae struck while the iron was still hot by releasing a second EP in early 2021 called Too Young to Be Sad. Featuring 6 new tracks, the EP was propelled by the first single, You Broke Me First, which she'd released previously in early 2020. Building on her earlier success, the new single debuted at number 95 on the Billboard charts. The song proved to be her most successful effort yet, reaching number 1 on Billboard's Dance Mix Show Airplay chart and landing in the top 20 on the all-genre Billboard Hot 100. Released amid the global pandemic, You Broke Me First placed the 17-year-old in the eye of the music industry hurricane. As she told American songwriter, "That song changed everything for me." McRae noted that she wrote the song in the basement of her parents' house during quarantine lockdown, with no inkling of the success it would go on to achieve. With the success of her 2 EPs and multiple singles, Tate McRae released a new single in late 2021 called Feel Like. The single was accompanied by a music video that took her full circle and featured her dance skills in support of her musical talents. That was followed by another single called She's All I Wanna Be, along with the announcement of another tour, which was far more expansive than her previous one. Finally, in spring 2022, McRae unveiled her first ever album, I Used to Think I Could Fly. In an interview with Variety, she revealed what she hoped her fans would take away from her debut album, saying, "I want them to go through a roller coaster of emotions. I want them to genuinely feel like they're watching a movie, because my intention is for them to experience every emotion and feel every story." Tate McRae returned in September 2023 with Greedy, the first single from her forthcoming sophomore album. In a press release promoting the single, she described Greedy as reflecting her growing confidence as an artist. "I feel like this is the first time where people are seeing a feistier and more playful side of me. This song is so unexpected, and I cannot wait for everyone to hear it." Greedy was every bit the smash that McRae had hoped, racking up more than 3.3 million global streams on Spotify within its first week of release, and landing at number 1 on Spotify's global streaming chart. In November 2023, McRae announced via Instagram that her second full-length album, Think Later, would be arriving the following month. The album became an instant hit, debuting at number 4 on Billboard's album chart, and marking her first ever top 10 debut. Its success also led to her first ever appearance on Saturday Night Live as musical guest, appearing in an episode hosted by Jason Momoa.
Vogue magazine released a headline that said you were taking over the world.
What does that mean?
Does that domination?
Tate McRae's romantic history has long inspired her music, and in early 2024, rumors began emerging that she was dating a fellow pop sensation, the Kid Laroi. The rumors began in January when McRae posted a selfie on Instagram while on vacation. She wore a button-down shirt that some fans theorized belonged to the Australian rapper when he left an emoji comment on the post. That was followed by reports that the two had been spotted partying together in Mexico. They were subsequently seen stepping out for dinner together in Los Angeles. That February, People magazine reported that McRae and Laroi had been spotted holding hands while attending the NHL All-Star Game in Toronto. Following that appearance, ET Online reported an eyewitness saw the two stars once again holding hands while attending Michael Rubin's 2024 Fanatic Super Bowl party in Las Vegas. Interestingly, around the same time those dating rumors began surfacing, McRae discussed her love life with Today, describing a scenario that may or may not have been about her rumored relationship with the Kid Laroi. She said, "A lot of this year was surrounded by relationships I went through where I didn't really use my head in a lot of scenarios. I just dove right into passion and lust and the feeling of the adrenaline of being with a person."